Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today I wanted to try something new based on some feedback I've been getting on my videos. Of course, there's a chance that the people who left those comments will never see this video, but one should always try to improve the channel. Please let me know in the comments down below if you like this format, or if you think the extra time and effort aren't worth it. Also, and I know it's annoying to keep hearing this, but statistically if I don't ask you to like and subscribe, the video gets fewer subscribers. The Scarab God is a 5-mana 5/5 legendary god who, when it dies, gets returned to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Additionally, at the beginning of our upkeep, we scry X, and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of zombies we control. Finally, we may pay 4 mana to exile a creature from a graveyard. We then create a token that is a copy of it, except it is a 4/4 black zombie. Okay, that's a lot of text, and there are a lot of ways to build the Scarab God. You can build it as a zombie commander, and black and blue gives us access to Rooftop Storm. One of my favorite ways to build him, and I have done so on this channel, is as a zombie turns deck. We build a massive army of zombies, then take an extra turn or 3. During our next few upkeeps, we just drain our opponents out. I've seen my oldest do this in Standard. Their opponent didn't realize they were dead on my child's upkeep because they had 10 life, but my child had 13 zombies on board. There's another way to build Scarab God. Mill. We don't have the issue that other mill decks have, in that we're weak against cards like Echo of Eons or Commit Memory. We don't really care if our opponents never mill out. We're just going to steal their nasty creatures from their graveyards. Or we can be really evil and just exile their graveyards altogether, depending on the situation. So today's video will be a budget mill deck. That's right, despite the Scarab God being worth about $11, this deck comes in at under $100. But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, Ultimate Guard. One of my favorite products Ultimate Guard has is their Xenoskin Sidewinder. The Sidewinder has a soft microfiber lining as well as the rugged Xenoskin shell we've all come to love. While the Sidewinder isn't a new product, they are now available in the limited Bloomborough print, like this Eluge one seen here. Find it if your local game store carries Ultimate Guard products, or click the link down below to order yourself one from Amazon. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lanes and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Oh, one more quick announcement before we get started. I'm currently streaming with my son over on Musings by Danon as well as Twitch. It'll mostly be Final Fantasy XIV, but you're more than welcome to pop in and talk about Commander. Honestly, about half my streams are talking about manga, anime, or Commander. Our land base consists of Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Drowned Catacomb, Ice Tunnel, Contaminated Aquifer, Sunken Hollow, Tainted Isle, Darkwater Catacombs, Underground River, Choked Estuary, Temple of Deceit, Dimir Aqueduct, Mystic Sanctuary, Nephalia Drownyard, Bojuka Bog, Myriad Landscape, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, 9 Islands, and 9 Swamps. With this being a budget deck, we didn't have enough money for fetches or the Shockland, but I wanted to ensure we had some ways to fix our mana. Now, you could cut some basics and run the common dual-colored lands if you wanted to. This is a personal choice and, depending on your playgroup, could be a viable option. I would also recommend this if you're adding Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead in a 2-color deck means you want as many different lands as possible, and I would also recommend having half of your basics be snow-covered to help trigger Field of the Dead. For mana ramp, we're running Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Dominance, Dimir Signet, Sky Diamond, Charcoal Diamond, Mind Stone, Felwar Stone, Thought Vessel, Commander Sphere, Thrawn Dynamo, Wayfarer's Bauble, and Solemn Simulacrum. I'm not a fan of rituals outside of Spellslinger and other decks that want to cast a bunch of instants and sorceries, so my focus was on mana rocks and land ramp. Black Market wouldn't be a good fit in this deck, as we're focused more on milling than on killing our opponent's creatures or our own. I also know that Black Market Connections is another great Magic card, and I include it in many of my higher budget lists, but it wouldn't fit in this deck's budget. Our card advantage package consists of Windfall, Frantic Search, Factor Fiction, Drown in Dreams, Dig Through Time, Consider, Elgath Crossroads Augur, Teferi's Ageless Insight, Stroke of Genius, Blue Sun Zenith, Into the Story, and Buried Alive. You'll note that some of our card advantage can either be used to force someone to draw the remainder of their deck, or helps us fill our graveyard in addition to drawing cards. Very thematic, very demure. For spot removal, we've got Withering Torment, Feed the Swarm, Drown in the Loch, Hero's Downfall, Go for the Throat, Sea Double, and Baleful Mastery. Our counter magic package consists of Negate, Arcane Denial, Didn't Say Please, Thought Collapse, and Counterspell. Finally, for stacks and graveyard hate, we're running Leyline of the Void, Ashiok Dreamrender, and Narset Parter of Veils. I know that some of you are thinking, wait a minute, Danon, why would you run Stroke of Genius with the goal of decking someone and Narset Parter of Veils in the same deck? That doesn't make sense. You're right. You wouldn't be able to deck someone with a Stroke of Genius if Narset Parter of Veils was on board. But what you will do is buy yourself time as your opponents try to kill her. I've never seen a Narset last a full turn cycle unless she was cast right after a board wipe. She always gets targeted. And as far as counter magic goes, running counterspells in Commander is both smart and viable, but you don't want your whole interaction package to be counter magic. Being able to protect yourself from an inopportune board wipe, or stop your opponent from comboing off and winning the game are wonderful options to have. But you don't need to counter every single thing your opponents are doing. For board wipes, we're running Toxic Deluge and Life's Finale. Yes, Cyclonic Rift is a powerful board wipe that I would have loved to include in the deck, but it is far outside our budget. Same thing with Damnation. The core of our deck is mostly made up of mill effects. We're running the Mind Skinner, Maddening Cacophony, Ruin Crab, Psychic Corrosion, Consuming Aberration, Court of Cunning, Fractured Sanity, Memory Erosion, Undead Alchemist, Teresian Mindbreaker, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and Teferi's Tutelage. We also have a small zombie package in Dread Summons, Soul Shackled Zombie, Diregraph Captain, Lord of the Accursed, Liliana's Mastery, and Eternal Skylord. I wanted to run more mill effects, but a lot of the really good ones are outside of our budget. Supporting our plan, we've also got Training Grounds to help make the Scarab God's activated ability cheaper, Sir Conrad the Grim to help deal more damage with all of our mill effects, and Swarm Intelligence for some fun shenanigans. We are running 28 instants and sorceries in the deck after all. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 49 mana sources split between 36 lands and 13 pieces of ramp. A little light, but we've got a fair amount of card advantage, so it's fine. 12 pieces of card advantage, 15 pieces of interaction and spot removal, 2 board wipes, 3 pieces of graveyard hate in Leyline of the Void, Ashiok Dreamrender, and Bajuka Bog, 1 Sudden Eye win card in Psychic Corrosion. Psychic Corrosion says that whenever we draw a card, each opponent mills 2 cards. And this deck has plenty of ways to draw cards. In fact, what I'm hoping happens is we either cast Elagath Crossroads Augur or bring them back as a zombie, making it so that instead of scrying a bunch thanks to all of our zombies, we draw a bunch of cards. This deck has many paths to victory and is a great starter deck if you're wanting to mill people or build a more zombie-focused deck. A lot of the good zombie lords and zombie-themed cards are a bit more expensive, and the same is true for the more powerful mill cards. So if you're wanting a deck that you can try out and then take it in either direction, this is a great starting point. Do you have a Scarab God deck? What direction did you take your deck in? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Drya, Muffins, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Alex, Borgie, Naswin, Conga, Aaron, Chris, Robert, William, Pye, Kazaris, Booksoup, Patrick, Naffy, Doodle, Tiz, Art, Richard, Devin, and Lucius. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.